along with Dale Walls, the President and CEO of Corsica Technologies, two of our Amazon Web Services technology partners, as well as our own John Downey with Amazon Web Services, who focuses on business development in the storage area. We'll begin today with John providing us an overview of the next generation of enterprise storage benefits on AWS, followed by John LaCourte with CA, who will provide some more details around ArcServe solutions used for data protection and disaster recovery. And then we'll close out with Dale Walls from Corsica, who will share some specifics about managed backup service solutions deploying ArcServe on AWS. And then we'll close with some Q&A. So with that, I'd like to welcome John Downey with Amazon Web Services. Please take it away, John.
Thanks, Sherry. All right, let me make sure everybody can see the slide here. It should say Next Generation Enterprise Storage. Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you first and foremost for your time and interest. It's much appreciated. My name is John Downey. I'm a business development manager with AWS, focusing specifically on our storage services portfolio. And I have even more of a discrete focus specific to customers that own and operate data centers that have internal storage operations, backup operations, SAN, NAS, archive, DR, etc. And how can we help them, right? How can we help you federate with our solutions? How can we help lower your storage costs? How can we increase your durability and overall reliability of your storage system while reducing operations, reducing capital expenditure, et cetera. So these are the types of solutions that I help with. And Computer Associates, D2D, backup software, as well as Corsica as a systems integrator is definitely helping us down this road. So let me take it to the next slide here. So just a little bit of a quick background here. So we've got, we've been in business AWS since 2006. We're, running across, we got customers across 190 countries. That is customers across 190 countries. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of customers all in, ranging from startups like Dropbox, Pinterest, Instagram, Spotify, to enterprise customers like Samsung, Shell, Adobe, Hitachi, Pfizer, NASDAQ, spanning many different verticals, as well as government agencies. Over 500 government agencies are operating on us, including over 1,500 academic institutions. So very deep and wide range of customer types and use cases. And then what's equally as interesting and what's helped towards our growth and the analyst recognition are all the partners that operate on us. We have a tremendous ecosystem of systems integrators, ISVs, and resellers, VARs, distributors, et cetera, that really help round out the offering. And of course, Corsica and Computer Associates are certainly two of our leading partners in this space. So to this particular slide, you'll see some recognition from an analyst perspective regarding 60% market share. So that's been done in roughly 6.5 years. So that's a pretty interesting data point. You'll see the Gartner Quadrant. The most recent one, as of October 2012, shows AWS, Amazon Web Services on the farthest upper right of the quadrant. And the closest competitors have actually fallen back. And you'll also notice that they've changed from 2011, if you're familiar with the 2011 Gartner Quadrant. And then also for the Forrester Hadoop wave, it shows us farthest to the upper right against all our competitors in the analytics Hadoop space. So some pretty solid analyst recognition given where we've come from and where we're going. From a customer perspective, as far as why customers are adopting cloud computing, we've really come up with 6 different categories that we've received as feedback from our customers. So this is not our marketing team saying, oh, here's the definition of cloud. This is really the top 6 areas of feedback that we've received from our customers that really explains what cloud computing is and why they're moving to the cloud. So let me start with the first one, which is variable expense. with cloud computing is I'm going to assume most people on the call probably know there is no upfront capital expenditure as it relates specifically to the AWS services. It is a metered operational cost, much like a power bill, where you pay for your utilization at the end of each month. If you're no longer interested in the service, you can get out. There's no commitments, there's no contracts, and that's very similar to how that is exactly how AWS operates. Number two, economies of scale. So we have a tremendous infrastructure. In 2003, when we were a $5.3 billion company, we had a lot of servers and a lot of infrastructure. We're adding that same amount of infrastructure every single day to AWS now, just to give you an idea of the size and scope and scale that we're operating at. So the cost structures, what we are purchasing at, those costs continue to go down, and then we roll out that cost savings to our customers over and over time, and therefore we continue to drop our individual costs for specific services, and therefore it becomes this interesting model where your costs continue to drop with our technologies, and operations overall goes down significantly as well. Elastic capacity essentially means there's no risk around the concept of over-provisioning or under-provisioning. At the end of the day, there's this concept of elastic capacity where the systems can automatically adapt to the application load or the end-user demand, which is pretty neat. So when it spikes, the systems can spike, and as the demand goes down, then they retract, and again, you only pay for what you use. Speed and agility essentially means that you can stand up hundreds of servers, thousands of servers in minutes. It literally means you can stand up entire environments literally in minutes. So think of what you can do with test and dev. You can stand something up, test it. When you're done testing, tear it down. Only pay for what you use. Or perhaps you want to experiment with a new line of business that would require a new set of infrastructure and go to market with it and see how it works. You could stand it up, and if it's successful, great, you continue operating, and if it's not successful, you tear it down and you have no collateral damage. So there's some interesting things to think about from a speed and agility perspective. Focusing on the business essentially means that, at the end of the day, managing IT infrastructure, although a necessary evil for every company, does not necessarily differentiate the businesses from one another. And so what happens as companies continue to move onto the cloud, they can actually focus more on revenue-generating, business differentiating projects instead of managing IT infrastructure. And then finally, global reach, the ability to literally stand up a worldwide website in minutes. So you could have a website running in a specific region, let's say US East, for example, and you can literally clone that infrastructure and configuration files and have orchestration frameworks stand up those websites in different regions around the world to give an immediate worldwide presence for a specific application or a company. So these are kind of the top 6 reasons that we've learned from our customers why they're so rapidly moving on to us. And if you take a step back and think about these 6 individual categories, you'll recognize that it's very difficult, if not impossible, to do this with internal infrastructure or with a private cloud deployment as well. So moving on. So if I was to show you a quick bird's eye view, and it looks like this is taking a second to load. There we go. Quick bird's eye view of what we are. I'm not going to get into this map, if you will, but at a very high level, we're really 2 things. The foundational services is number 1, which is your compute, EC2, your storage systems, S3, Glacier, EBS, which stands for Elastic Block Storage. The AWS Storage Gateway is an on-premise little iSCSI SAN device that connects back to our storage systems. S3 is a geographically distributed object store with 11 nines of durability, and Glacier is also 11 nines of durability tape replacement archival medium at $0.01 per gig per month. So those are the 4 storage offerings. There's a variety of network offerings from VPN, IPsec tunnels that can be created where we can virtually wall off areas of our cloud and have all unlimited amounts of resources become available all behind your firewall, which is kind of cool. We offer private pipe connections in the form of enabling to terminate MPLS and point-to-point on our system. We have DNS services, and then there's a variety variety of database services as well, from traditional managed service for Oracle SQL and MySQL to offering a variety of NoSQL databases, as well as some newer columnar technologies like Redshift. We also have a data warehousing technology. So those are kind of the foundation services that most customers are very familiar with. So that's number one. And then number two is the application services, which are essentially more application-oriented / developer components that can speed development of an application or may make an application more relevant to refactor and run on the cloud. So those are really what we are at a high level. The top bar, which really should be down the side, is a really more of a deployment and management scenario. So the ability to have automation frameworks to monitor what's going on, to enable permissions and restrictions for certain users, billing, monitoring, etc. Now, the very bottom, which I haven't touched yet, is the actual global footprint, which is made up of what we call regions, availability zones, and edge locations. So this next slide, you'll see a map, and you'll see these gold boxes. Those gold boxes are where the regions actually exist. That means where our physical data centers are. The dots that you see are our endpoints for our content delivery network that we call CloudFront. And then what not shown here are where we have physical routers stood up, which is in 10 locations around the world, where you can actually terminate MPLS or point-to-point for a completely private, higher throughput, lower latency connection if you so wish to do that instead of internet. So these are where our operations reside. And then if you peel back a couple layers of the onion and look into those gold boxes, you'll see what we have, this concept of availability zones. So let's just take US East, which is Northern Virginia. You'll see these boxes which we show availability zones. Availability zones are clusters of data centers, and I told you the scale earlier that we were at. These are massive, massive data centers, multiple within each availability zone that are geographically very close to one another. And then the availability zones are all connected on high-speed private fiber, and distances between availability zones vary anywhere from 5 to 25 miles apart from one another, depending upon which region it is. So when you operate with